Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to this week's episode of the Sensei Playbook podcast, marketing strategy for the dealer world so that you can do less and make a whole lot more. We have a fantastic guest, Jaymie Hampson, the Senior VP of Operations for the Holman Auto Group. Yes, the Holman Auto Group. She's going to share information, inspiration, and influence around AI, around community service, around the customer experience, and everything she's gleaned in her entire lifetime career being in the car business. You're going to want to bookmark this one.
Welcome to the Sensei Playbook, the ultimate how-to podcast for growing and amplifying your brand within the digital world's 3-second landscape. Join Bill Courtwright and Chris Snellgrove as they discuss the right tools and strategies for building the best online marketing strategy for your business. Tune into leading business leaders who share information and impart inspiration on providing smooth customer experience and successfully scaling your venture. This is your chance to achieve rapid growth in the highly competitive online market. Let's get this episode started with your hosts, Bill and Chris.
Jaymie, it's so glad to see you again. You're freshly back off the NADA Awesome Expo there in Las Vegas not too long ago. We had a great time to spend with you, and it is an absolute pleasure to have you on with our guests. So thank you. We typically start this episode with a similar or familiar question to our listeners and viewers, and it basically goes like this. Marketing today is not about the products we sell, but rather the stories we tell. Jaymie, what's your story?
Well, my story is I have been in the automotive industry my entire adult life. I started as a receptionist when I was in college, certainly not anticipating that it would be a career, but definitely grateful I stumbled into it. Basically answering phones, and started working for a smaller auto group in Oregon. And moved around into different positions in the dealership, kind of what worked best for school schedule. So lots of time in service and parts. And then, after some time, started thinking that there may be something to this, and really started focusing in on what a career could look like in it. So from parts and service, went into some of the variable roles, finance, sales management, and became a general manager in 2013 in Audi Boulder in Colorado. And that company that I worked for was acquired in 2016 by the Holman Group. And at that point, regional vice president position came available. So I was the regional vice president for most stores in the West. And then recently, as of February 1st, became the senior vice president of dealership operations for our national footprint.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, definitely the smartest one on this podcast, Chris.
So you've worked a lot of different departments. That's interesting, and really worked your way up from the very bottom, like receptionist. That's incredible.
Yeah, I am super appreciative of the path I took. Certainly, like I said, it wasn't like I entered the building thinking that was going to be where I lived for my livelihood and career. But I think it's missing. A lot of people think you're either just selling cars or fixing cars in the automotive industry. And certainly there's all these businesses within a business. And I am very grateful for my parts and service background, because I think that, there's so much that the dealership relies on in that area, that to have relatable experience and really understanding how that part of the business works has been very advantageous as I've learned the other aspects of the business. There's more people back there, from an internal side, you're touching more customers on a day-to-day basis. So I will always have a special place for that side of the business for sure. And I think it set the stage for some of the other opportunities that I was given. I think it was people started recognizing the importance of parts and service versus traditionally most people came up from the sales side. So I think I lucked out starting that way. And I encourage people to venture into that area a little bit more than I think it's a lot more fun than it looks. Not every day, but for the most part it is.
At which point, Jaymie, did you really decide on, okay, where you wanted to go in the organization? Like, you started out as a receptionist, you moved into parts and service, but when did you set your eyes on maybe that general manager's position or even above that?
Yeah. So, as I was getting closer to the end of my time at college, I started thinking, potentially a general management role would be kind of my, the North Star. And in order to do that, I knew I needed to branch out and start looking at some of the other departments in the dealership. So that went over to the finance. I was working in a business degree, so it just kind of felt natural to go that direction. But I think right when I was getting ready to graduate and go get my real job, and I was like, I don't know. I started looking a little bit outside of what I was doing, and financially, and some of the other, starting at an entry-level position at a corporation versus, maybe investing in myself a little bit more in the business I was already in, just started really looking more appealing. And quite frankly, I didn't see a lot of other female GMs out there. And so there was a part of me that felt like, why not me? And I was very well supported by the group that I was working with. I was very fortunate there that I stood on my, I did the work and made the connections and did the networking and did the things that it took, and had an owner and leadership team that had some confidence in me. So it worked out.
So Jaymie, the topic of conversation that you had at the NADA, for which you were a panel member, was human capital and AI, and how it was affecting the current state of things. And in our world, anytime those two letters A and I are put together, people kind of perk up. Can you share with the audience a little bit about the context of that conversation? What your opinions are and why you were chosen to be on that panel?
Sure. So, as AI has been more of the buzz term, as we all know, I think part of the reason that I was asked to talk out loud about it is, we were early adopters of certain aspects of it. And I think I've been vocal about, we made some mistakes when we first jumped in and probably tried to do too much too soon. And weren't necessarily ready for some of the things that we were trying to implement. So what I mean by that is, we were trying to control inventory. We were trying to really dive into portfolio management when we weren't really ready with process. We were, buying what everyone was selling, buying things for problems we didn't even have at the time. And I think realistically, the focus of the message is, what are you doing administratively? Where do you see the piles of paperwork? What are the tasks that you can take away from some of your managers and leaders within the organization? That's a time suck, and really get the buy-in that, we're not trying to take anyone's jobs away. No, we don't think anybody's, the value of the person behind the data that this AI tools are giving us. We're just making more informed and better decisions. So it's really getting a plan and then determining where you're going to start with AI versus doing it all at once. And that was, I think, a lesson learned from our organization and myself personally. Definitely don't be afraid of it. Do your homework, but start with some things, get good at it, and then, branch out from there on who you're going to partner with. Vendors, you're using people probably in an auto group or a dealership that you've been with for a long time, and they tiptoe into certain aspects of it. So it's, I think, really critical for you to find that right partner that is also supporting those AI tools. So typically the vendors.
And where do you feel the AI is making the biggest benefit? Is it on the data processing and operations side, or do you see it enhancing the customer experience? Or what is your personal opinion on that?
Yeah, a little of both. I mean, I'm a big advocate of really paying attention to AI with inventory management. If you have the right inventory, you're going to have better customer experience. So internally and externally, if you have that part of your business dialed in and using those tools, that would be where I would say I would start. However, on marketing and with AI, you're talking to the people, individuals with the right message at the right time, versus, doing what we've always done and, thinking that we have it all figured out and maybe we don't. So it's just really recognizing from an experience standpoint, what are you trying to accomplish? And, keep asking yourself that question. You'll land on the right partner as well as the right process.
Yeah. Yeah. I think one of the major advantages with a dealer group like Holman is, Chris and I were on your site not too long ago, and we saw just the inventory, like browse inventory, 7,200 vehicles, right? So it's rare that an organization, every organization would have the need for that type of data processing. And I think a lot of our smaller, maybe single rooftop or a few rooftop franchise dealers can really learn from some of the larger groups like Holman, who are really at the tip of the spear on how to make best use of all this processing data. And it's what we would call, kind of hacking a solution. Look at what's working for the teams that have the resources to do whatever they want, and take a lesson from that. I mean, is that, am I offline there or what?
No, I mean, some of the things that we're talking about or that I mentioned certainly can happen at a single point. It's just a matter of, from an investment standpoint, I would recommend looking at what your OEM is talking to you about, as well as the partners that you already have, whether it's with your CRM or portfolio management tool. That would be the place to start is, looking at who you already know and they know you. I think that it's people that don't know where to start, don't start. And so that's the message is it's okay. Everybody feels that way, whether you're a large organization or a small rooftop. It's just tip your toe in there and get good at one thing. And once you start, getting that momentum and your people internally start seeing the advantages of taking away tasks they don't like doing anyway. Look for piles of paperwork. Wherever that lives, there's probably a solution that no one's going to care that you take it away.
Well said.
What are some marketing techniques that you are currently utilizing to attract people to your stores?
We're, kind of on the AIs. We've partnered with Orbi pretty heavily, and that's a tool that we are really leaning on right now, Chris, that we probably 2 years ago, we tiptoed in. I think Orbeez complemented it really well. We still believe in grassroots. We feel that it's really important to stay connected with your community. I think that dealerships in general, regardless of the area that you live, they have always really been a huge contributor to community. And we still feel very strongly about giving back to the, those that choose to do business with us. So some of the marketing, for example, traditionally it's been automotive is with golf, or there's sporting events or those kind of things. And I think one of, we try to really look outside of that traditional. So for example, we're looking at art and film festivals. We're looking at giving back to some of the nonprofits that, are local, as well as we are, Holman is a huge partner with United Way. We do a lot with United Way. Mindy Holman, our chairperson, family-owned business. We're turning 100 this year at Holman. So it's, the company has been around a while, and Mindy and her family and the rest of the company has partnered with United Way for years, and we do a lot of great things with that organization.
Does social media help y'all really connect with the community with all these with all this outreach?
It does. I mean, it's certainly one of the tools, right? I think it's not I do feel like sometimes it's leaned on too heavily to be kind of, hey, I put that out there so something's going to happen. So it's part of a marketing plan that complements other things. So so that's how we look at it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it can really help you get closer to your customer because there is a two-way communication.
Yeah, no, we've really started paying attention to chat differently. As people know, different than probably you or I know that if I can chat my way through, whether it's United Airlines or somebody that I'm shopping with online, I'm certainly using chat. So that's been there's a pocket of people that want to do business with us that way. And so finding internally what that process is to make sure that those that are answering those chats also want to do it. When you're opening the chat up to the floor, not everybody wants to engage that way. So
That's right.
paying attention to that two-way, if somebody's reaching out to us that way, we need to make sure that we're prepared to answer in the same way as well.
Right. Whatever way they want to communicate is the way we should communicate with them, right?
Correct. Yes. We have an entire initiative for customer experience, really started with the digital retailing side coming out of COVID. Everybody had to figure out what that is. And, that's old news now, but we have dedicated a team of individuals that really are taking that initiative for the group and partnering with our stores and piloting new things from the customer experience, anything from time that you choose, once you land on a car, going through the finance process, really doing some time studies and trying to pay attention to people's time when they're, once they've made a decision to consider us, we want to be really thoughtful of the time. So that is a big initiative that we're working on currently as well.
Yeah, making sure if they start with digital retailing and they come into the store and that process starts all over and it takes too long, you've lost them. Because
absolutely.
That's the thing. Yeah. Yeah. That's the speed is the key there.
Yeah. Without question. It's pretty amazing. I think the people that we talk to, both on the consumer side as well as the operational and leadership side of the automotive industry, we can all kind of sit back and in a little bit of awe of where we are today compared to where we were 10 or 15 years ago. Leaning into the future a little bit, Jaymie, what excites you about what's on the next horizon? What's coming that gets you excited in the industry?
I think the industry is starting to, we've worked on our brand. I don't think the auto industry has always had the best rap in regards to, true customer experience and people wanting to do business with us. And I think we've evolved in a huge way over the last few years. So that part of it is exciting to me, is just I think we've started to prove that we're, legit business people. More people are considering this as a profession than I think ever before for different reasons. I think the information that's out there is now perceived as, we're working with informed individuals in a lot of cases, that we're partnering different with our guests and clients than we ever have before. And I think that's exciting. We're attracting a different talent pool with the technology. So I think from a technician perspective to some of the technology roles, we're starting to see different individuals in the dealerships than we have in the last 2 to 3 years even. In regards to big picture, what does the auto industry look like in 2025 to 2030? EV is the big piece of the unknown right now. I have opinions. We certainly understand that it is a part of doing business right now with the OEMs and at Holman, but we're really paying attention to how that's playing into our financial investments in dealerships, as well as what can we do to ensure that we are not getting too far down any path right now, and trying to stay really balanced with our overall approach.
Do you think it's going to be EV or hybrid?
Hybrid seems to be the appetite for our client base right now, is what we're seeing. There's definitely a pocket of individuals that, will want the EV as an option. But I would say today, from what we're seeing, there's a lot more appetite for the hybrid model.
Yeah.
Going back to customer experience, what methods does the Holman Group use to capture the customer experience currently?
I don't know if I understand that question.
Reviews, testimonials.
Oh, sure. Yeah. So we have a couple different things. Internally, we survey. We have a Holman survey that's not related to the OEM survey, and it's a little different based on would you refer, really talking about some of the things of why they chose us. We have a really good response rate, and we are using that information to pivot on some of the things from a training perspective, as well as how we set things up in a dealership, or how things are scheduled for when certain individuals arrive. So we're definitely getting more and better information off of that feedback survey. And it's not just those that choose to buy from us, it's those that didn't. So we are really paying attention to why someone went a different direction, and have some processes in place that we're gathering really good information that way.
The data does not lie. It definitely
No.
provide the insights needed to improve. What about training? Tell us about any type of training. Do y'all have your own internal training department?
We do have an internal training department. Doesn't mean that we don't tap, resources on the shoulder when there's certain things going on. We have from a gamut of just product training to some of the pilots that we roll out on some bigger initiatives. We also have business resource groups for, we have a Women of Holman group. We have some, resources outside of the company that come in from an internal perspective for training on customer handling. We have, which I think is kind of unique to us, we have a position called it's an advisor for technicians. So we have regionally individuals that work with technicians onboarding coming into our group, whether they've been a technician prior or not, just with some of the support that I think sometimes, whether it's the systems that we're using or they're moving to a different brand. And we have dedicated advisors for that group. They are such an important part of our business, and we feel that we needed training and resources dedicated to those individuals, that we're not pulling them out of their bays. We're doing a lot more things at their workstations, really paying attention to, somebody might have all the skills from a training school, but have never really paid attention to, how we want things written on a repair order. So we are catering to certain individuals that might need different things than, the three of us. I'm sure if we were both signing up on the same day, we'd need different things. So we're trying to pay attention to that differently.
Right. Interesting. How about video? Y'all using video in the service department to?
Yes, we are. We've been, I would say, pretty decent in that arena for a handful of years. We had early adoption, and it is something that we're staying on top of. We review often and regularly. It's not something that's, up for, it's not an option. It's something that everybody does and does well. So yes, I think someone that's not doing that is, that would be if you don't hear anything from me today, that would probably be something you'd want to look into if somebody's not doing that right now.
And give us an example of that type of video application.
So we have from a walk around perspective, we use video at that level. When the technician is going over the inspection, that technician that's working on the vehicle is doing the video walk around.
Smart.
That video is sent to the guest. So, if the vehicle is parked outside and that individual's picking it up after hours, we're videoing that so they know exactly where the car's at. So we utilize it pretty significantly to, kind of all around, I guess, more on the service side right now, Chris, than I would say on sales.
Really helps to communicate trust with that video, right? That's what we're understanding.
Absolutely. When it's your car, it's I think it adds a lot of value.
How about video testimonials from the sales side? Are y'all getting those?
We are. I mean, we have our marketing team is supporting us in that. I would say that I don't know if we're utilizing it to a point that we could, but it's definitely sprinkled in there with some of the other things that we're doing. We've got some individuals, got a technician out at one of our Audi stores in Florida that he's got a huge following of, he's really good at it and he likes to do it. So definitely with vehicles that, he's worked on a few times, he does videos with the clients when they're picking up. So, I mean, those kind of things, personalizing it internally and externally, as you know, those are gold, especially when they're done right.
We call it the golden testimonial video. Yeah. They're hard to get though, typically.
Yes, they are. I feel like some people aren't good at it. Some people don't like it. So I think, for me, I wouldn't want to force it, but for those that, are comfortable and natural, we should probably do more of it.
Yeah. Well, you ask that TikToker or that aspiring YouTuber, and they'll provide a golden testimonial for you.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
So let's talk about inspiration. Who are some of the people that you follow, or what are you currently reading? What inspires you?
So, so personally and professionally, one of the best things that I've done is I joined YPO, which stands for Young Presidents Organization, about 10 years ago. And it has been a group of people. I've always been in automotive, like I shared, and it was something that branched out of the field that I'm in into other organizations. So I really spend a lot of time with individuals in that organization and their business leaders of outside of what I know. So I would say that is a big part of what influences me and individuals that I spend time with and seminars and conventions. And I invest a lot of time in that organization. In regards to what I read, I don't read as much as I should. I definitely listen more. I drive around a lot. So that's kind of my
Bill and I too. We're both Audible fans.
I should, yeah.
And when I say read, I mean, I count Audible as reading.
Perfect. Well, good. I'm
listening to.
So, I have a couple of different people that I listen to pretty frequently, but I love listening to things, sports. So right now I was just listening to a memoir about Jackie Joyner Kersey, just people and individuals. That's where I tend to lean is when I, go into sports is something that I find interest, definitely women in sports. Another thing that I really pay attention to right now is I've got two kids. I've got a 17 and 12-year-old. So I'm paying a lot of attention to how to get through that stage in life for me and them.
Yeah. I'm with you there. I have two 13-year-olds. So I'm with you.
So you know.
Yeah,
but, it is raising kids and, working with individuals and social media and some of the things that go along with that. So I definitely spend some time listening to others. Maybe some of it is just for comfort that I'm not alone, but some of it is some best practice. So I find myself searching those kinds of things often.
What's the jersey on the wall behind you? What is that? Is that a biker?
Yeah. So that's Rocky Mountain Cancer Centers. We sponsor some cycling teams here locally in Colorado. And that is a jersey that, it's been a couple years, but I would, if I said I was a cyclist, that would be very strong. I enjoy it, but I'm not racing anymore, but I do ride for some fundraisers and some things. And that happens to be one of them.
Nice. I get on a Peloton occasionally. So does that count?
It does. Yeah, absolutely. It does.
Well, Colorado is absolutely gorgeous. My family and I were in Steamboat during the summer a couple years back, and it was one of our finest trips for sure. It was actually a rescheduled COVID casualty. We had planned on going to Steamboat about our vacation was scheduled 2 weeks after COVID shut down Steamboat Mountain, and then we were cabin fever come June, so we headed out there in July. It was absolutely gorgeous. Colorado's a special place. You're lucky to be there.
No, we agree. I mean, I moved here from Oregon in 2013 and, born and raised in that area. So it was a big adjustment for us and we love it. We absolutely love it here. So there's not a bad season. Although today we're supposed to get a big spring snowstorm. So they're saying 9 to 12 inches. We'll see. Yeah.
Wow. That's fun. There's nothing like.
If I was on the mountain, it would be fun, but
that's right. Skiing in shorts is that's like the dream of us Midwesterners and Southeasterners looking at Colorado. How cool would it be to ski in shorts? I mean, that just looks awesome.
Yes, it is.
Christy, any final thoughts for Jaymie?
Last one is Jaymie. What do you want to be known for?
Oh, that's a great question. Wow. I think I would like to be known as a good friend, a good daughter, mentor, a good spouse, somebody that was the same person, no matter who they were talking to. Those are things that I would hope. Those would be things that something like that, Chris, is what I would hope people would remember about me.
That's a great answer. I told my son the other day, he got in trouble at school, and I said, don't be a different person at school than you are at church. Like, you would never act the way you acted at school today at church, and be consistent. So I love that answer. That's good.
That is good. Well, Jaymie, on behalf of Chris Snellgrove and myself, the entire team here at Reputation Sensei and Digital Media Nation, we'd like to express sincere gratitude for your graciousness, your time, the generous thought that you shared. A lot of our listeners are going to be much, much better off for having heard your wisdom. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Jaymie.
Thank you so much for having me. Really appreciate it.
That's all for this episode of the Sensei Playbook. May these strategies help you build a powerful business roadmap and dominate the online marketplace right now. Be sure not to miss another episode jam-packed with valuable advice from our marketing martial artists, Bill and Chris, by subscribing to the podcast at podcast.reputationsensei.com. Don't forget to share with your friends and fellow entrepreneurs who also aspire for massive business success. Thank you for listening. Until next time.